Four witnesses called to testify in the House impeachment inquiry today were no-shows, defying congressional subpoenas. The White House directed all of them to stay away. Joining me now is Congressman Jamie Raskin, who serves on the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much. What's the next step to compel testimony from these witnesses?
Well, they've been compelled to come and testify. You get a subpoena from the United States Congress, you got to show up. So essentially, their failure to testify and their bowing down to the White House becomes evidence of further obstruction of justice by the White House. We don't have time to go off and to prosecute people criminally, which the Department of Justice won't do, or civilly, or to even hold an internal trial with contempt of Congress. We're on a pathway here investigating high crimes and misdemeanors of the president. If they don't participate, we will treat that as an implicit confession to everything we're looking into because they don't want it to be heard. And we will treat it, the White House's involvement in blockading witnesses as a form of obstruction of justice, which itself is an impeachable offense.
So then you won't go to court. You said you don't have time to go and prosecute everyone. So you won't go to court. They just won't come in, and you'll add it to the articles of impeachment.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we could get the Department of Justice under William Barr to prosecute people for obstructing justice, the first person we would get them to prosecute is William Barr himself. So that's a cul-de-sac for us. That's a dead end. That's not going to work. And civil prosecution takes too long. We could exercise the inherent powers of contempt that we have in Congress, but at this point that would allow for another circus diversion and distraction by Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows, and we're not going to do it. We've got the essential heart of the case, the gravamen of the case, as they say in the law. We know exactly what happened here. There was a shakedown of the Ukrainian government for political dirt on the president's opponents. They withheld $391 million of money that we voted in Congress for a besieged ally resisting Russian aggression, you know? And so we know what's going on here.
Okay, I get it. I just want to get to, I just want to sort of get to the bottom of what's happening now, because one of the other people who didn't show up today was John Eisenberg. He's a deputy counsel to the president for national security affairs. According to Vindman's testimony, Eisenberg is the person who decided to move that call, Trump's call, the presidents at that top, with the Ukraine presidents at that top secret server. Do you need to hear from him?
Yeah. Absolutely. He's a relevant witness with material testimony, and you know, he has a lot of important things to say to corroborate certain details, and we want to know exactly, you know, was there a cover-up? Was there a deliberate effort to suppress the existence of the phone call and the whole Giuliani underground operation to sabotage the U.S. ambassador Yovanovitch, whose deposition was released today? Obviously, she was the object of a tremendous smear campaign and a lot of propaganda. We want to know how deep that went and who was involved in it and who authorized it. You know, we had another hero revealed today in his testimony, Ambassador McKinley, who just said in his 37 years serving Republican presidents and Democratic presidents, he'd been ambassador in Afghanistan, Brazil, Colombia, Peru. He'd never seen anything like what had taken place towards Ambassador Yovanovitch, and he had never seen a Secretary of State essentially abandon his own employees, his own workers, his own frontline diplomatic personnel and ambassadors the way that Pompeo abandoned Yovanovitch. And so he urged him to make a statement on behalf of the ambassador, and Pompeo didn't do it despite the support of high-ranking State Department people. And he said, I've had enough. I'm out of here. I'm not going to, you know, participate in turning the State Department into an instrument of the president's campaign.
Well, I've read, and I read a lot of what he said in my opening statement. Witness transcripts are starting to be released, and you just mentioned Ambassador Maria Yovanovitch's, who's out today, her testimony, her transcript. A number of your Republican colleagues, like Congressman Lee Zeldin, Mark Meadows, Jim Jordan, complained about not having access to witnesses. Yet the transcripts, Congressman, show that they all actively interviewed Ambassador Yovanovitch. Was the whole storming of the SCIF based on a lie?
Oh, it was a complete fraud. I mean, there were people who had to leave the room where they were about to question the witnesses to go out and join the fake Freedom Riders to come back in to have their pepperoni pizza sit-in. It was absurd. But what's interesting when you actually read the transcripts was they had the opportunity to ask whatever questions they want, and they didn't lay a glove on Yovanovitch. They didn't lay a glove on McKinley because they're not able to discredit or impeach their testimony in any way. These are upright, honorable civil servants, foreign service officers, professionals of the first degree and rank, and they couldn't lay a glove on them in terms of what their story was, in terms of their credibility, the authenticity of what they brought to the impeachment investigation. It's a remarkable thing. So out in front of the microphones, in front of the media, they talk a big game in order to impress the president, but behind closed doors, they've got nothing to say. Right now, there's only one story, and all of the witnesses, a dozen witnesses, corroborate the story, and there's no alternative theory out there. This is not an Agatha Christie novel. We know exactly who did what, and the president betrayed his oath of office, the Constitution, the people, and our election in 2020. This was all an effort to alter our election by fabricating this phony case against the Bidens.
Congressman Raskin, thank you for your time.